Hello, my name is Jason Lowry.
And I'm Mark Toady.
And this is the Parkland Podcast.
It's the Parkland Podcast with Jason and Mark. It's the Parkland Podcast with Jason and Mark. They got plenty to say. They got plenty of heart. On the Parkland Podcast with Jason and Mark. It's the Parkland Podcast. Yeah, the Parkland Podcast. It's the Parkland Podcast. Yeah, the Parkland Podcast with Jason and Mark. Jason and Mark.
Episode 50 is now upon us.
50.
50. We've done this 50 times now.
And at least 27 of them have been pretty good.
Yeah. The other 23, not so much.
We're
but
still working on that.
Yeah, this one should be pretty good. We have some great guests lined up for you. We're going to talk to former local radio personality, Festus City Administrator, former Deloge City Administrator, Greg Camp will be our guest. And then we're going to visit with Whitney Shumway. And Whitney's going to talk about a sensitive topic, but definitely one that needs to be talked about in teen suicide awareness. Of course, we'll have plenty of news, events, and so much more, all coming up on episode 50 of the Parkland Podcast. Want to thank our sponsors. They've been with us since the beginning. Parkland Pharmacy, Discover Farmington, Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belt, and Heimberger Construction. Mark Toady, what did you do this week?
Had a pretty simple, easy week. I had a nice dinner Friday night with some friends at Sugar Fire Barbecue. Great food at Sugar Fire. Went to 12 West with another 12 West, easy for me to say, with another group on Thursday night. But other than that, just a little chill. Getting ready for a big week this week with a big United Way meeting. And then the week after that, the next weekend, it's going to be Country Days right around the corner.
Oh, yeah, and we'll be there at Country Days, broadcasting from the Country Days Parade. In fact, if you want to get your business on our Country Days live stream, we would love to have you. Let myself or Mark or Teresa Bauman know, and we will get you taken care of. That will be a fun time. Broadcasting again. Mark Toady back in the site. He took a year off, and now he's back to do another broadcast from Farmington Country Days.
Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Tino and me.
Well, I had a great week, final week of school, final week of teaching. The seniors, of course, have moved on. They've all graduated. I'm starting to get Facebook friend requests from them. So we can be Facebook friends now. And it was a great graduation ceremony at Farmington over the weekend, and pretty smooth week. I was worried. I had lunch duty the last day of school.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. And I'm thinking, dude, I'm going to have to write somebody up today.
Who put the forks, by the way, out in front of Farmington High School on the seniors last night?
Oh,
I'm guessing that was seniors.
That would probably be the seniors. Yes, they apparently the pranks were pretty
tame.
They didn't damage anything from what I'm hearing, and that's always the thing. You want to let the kids do something fun, but at the same time you don't want to make a big mess, and you obviously don't want to damage any property.
This was a stick a fork in me, I'm
done kind of thing. Yeah, so the symbolism was there, and it was not that bad. I know the last day seniors apparently it's a tradition to throw like confetti and little tiny pieces of paper up into the air and do stuff like that. And, that's, again, harmless thing. Let them do that. But I remember, golly, it was a tradition at North County back when the high school was still in Deloge to go up on the roof and spray paint it every year. And, I mean, I couldn't imagine in today's world people being okay because you had to leap across this big gap, and I mean, it was challenging. And then, of course, whenever my class was there when we got the new high school, which is now, I guess, 31 years old, there between Bonne Terre and Deloge, and there was no place to paint the roof. So apparently they started taking out their frustrations on the football field, which was not a good cost-saving measure. But anyways, things went well. Last week of school, still doing a lot of graduation parties with Jonas's class. Went to one on Friday night that was fantastic again. We've been party people lately. But I want to take a second and tell you that you need to get some form of tick repellent and
they're out.
spray yourself down if you are thinking about going outdoors. I picked 2 of them off of me this morning, and I'm a little worried. How long does it take for you to get sick from a tick bite? Do you know?
It can happen right away, and it can linger on and take a while.
Oh man! Well, I got bit by 2 of them. One on the back of the leg, and the other on the right butt cheek.
And that's too much information for me, but just remember, you don't use a match and try and burn it out. You get a pair of tweezers.
Oh, I just pulled them off with my fingers.
Well, you can do that too.
Oh,
But
okay.
make sure you get the head.
It looked like it before I flushed them down the drain. Apparently, I messed up there too. I should have put them in a baggie and saved them so they could be analyzed. Was what I was told.
I'd flush them. I'd hit them with a hammer.
Yeah.
I'd crush them.
I just put mine right down the drain.
There's
but-
a lot of other ticks that can be analyzed. The one that bites me, they're dead.
Yeah. So we'll see if the podcast is a little late. That's because I got sick from a tick bite. A friend of mine, Rob Love, has where he can't eat red meat anymore because of a tick bite. And now I'm scared to death that's going to happen to me.
It can mimic signs of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh my gosh.
Rocky Mountain spotted fever. That's nothing to mess around with.
Yeah. So get yourself some spray. Don't be like I was. We got to the party last night and like, hey, you want to go check this out, walk around here? Yeah, sure. And I should have just been like, hey, do you have anything I could spray on my legs first? So had I checked myself thoroughly last night, I just did it kind of I'm good before I went to bed. Another thing I should have did too. All right, enough about tick bites in my butt. Let's do some trivia. What do you say?
Okay, but first of all, this drops on Memorial Day.
Oh, yes.
This episode.
Yes.
Please remember the real reason for Memorial Day. The barbecues are nice. The family get-togethers are nice. But take time to thank a soldier, to thank a military person, and remember those who did not make it back. That's the most important thing to remember.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a potpourri of trivia for you here.
Okay. It's my
Who was
favorite
the
fragrance.
last United States president not to go to college?
Oh my, that's a good question. Andrew Jackson.
He may have not, but he wasn't the last one.
Oh, okay.
The last one was Harry Truman.
Really? He did
Harry
not go to
Truman. Well, not to
college.
have a college education.
Okay, wow.
All right. Who was the last St. Louis Cardinals pitcher to win 20 games in a season?
Ooh, the last 20-game winner was. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a great question. Oh man. I'll just throw a Chris Carpenter up against the wall and see if it sticks.
Great choice. Not the correct choice.
Yeah.
How soon we forget Adam Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright. Oh my gosh. Of course. It should have been Cy Young season.
What was the last year the football Cardinals played in St. Louis?
1989?
87. You were
Okay.
close. You were close.
Dang it.
All right. And one more trivia question for you. What was Van Halen's first single? I've had a little potpourri of trivia here.
Well, it is a potpourri. Van Halen's first single.
You're 0 for 3, man. You got to
I
get
know.
one.
Was
Save face.
Dance the Night Away?
Oh,
I'm not even close, am I? You really got me?
You really got me.
Ah,
Which was a song originally by?
the Kinks.
Very good.
Okay, at least I got that.
At least you got that.
Totally awesome radio story. We're going to tell a story about a.
Well, actually, I'm going to save that one.
Okay.
Because I just thought of this one.
Ooh, okay,
and
good,
I don't
good.
think we used it. We may have. If we have, stop me and I'll go back to my
It's okay.
original
We'll
choice.
just say it's episode 50 and it's like a best of.
Well, this involves our engineer, Kevin Brooks.
Oh, okay.
Kevin and I used to go, when I first started working there, to all the different high schools, and we would put antennas in. And remember the scene from Animal House when they went to the bar to dance, and there were a lot of African Americans in there, and just the guys from Animal House. And at the end of that scene, the guy was like, "If I was you, I'd be leaving." What a great idea! Well, that leads into this story.
Okay.
I won't say which high school
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has run out on this one, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
So we were upstairs above the gymnasium, and we were trying to run some coax outside to hook up to the antenna, and we could not get a hole through the side of the building. And finally Kevin says, "I'll get it, by golly," and he takes a little sledgehammer,
Oh, no.
hits it as hard as he can against this long metal spike, and kaboom, the side of the building kind of
Oh,
explodes.
no.
And he goes, "Well, that got it." And then we got the cord in and we tied it all up, and we went out and we got down, and there was this brand new Trans Am
Oh, no.
right there. And all around the Trans Am were about 4 or 5 bricks.
Oh, no.
And I looked at Kevin, and Kevin looked at me, and Kevin said, "I think it's time we leave."
Oh,
I don't
man.
think we hit the car, but it was really, really close. And if you ever run into Kevin Brooks, you can ask him that story because he will remember it. But
Oh, my.
that came very close to being a very expensive antenna we put in at this school.
And there you go. That is your totally awesome radio story.
Not to be confused with another antenna we put up at another high school where the girls' gym teacher came in, and she was really good looking. And it took us about an extra 30 minutes to put the antenna in because Kevin was ogling the gym teacher, which I did not blame him for, but because I did my fair share of ogling too. But Kevin was really impressed.
Oh, all right. So
Doris,
2
don't
for
take
1.
it personal.
That's statute of limitations has run out there too.
That's right.
There you go. It's a totally awesome radio story. We're going to be stepping back in time this year for Country Days 2025, June 6th, 7th, and 8th in downtown Farmington. Mark, you've been involved with Country Days for a long, long time, and there are many events that you hold near and dear to your heart.
Oh, very much so, including one of my all-time favorites, the First State Community Bank hot dog stand on Friday. It's like a homecoming because you'll see so many people you might not see every day or every week or even every month. I know it's always great for me to get together with my good friend, Miss Mandy, and we have a hot dog together, and we talk about the past year, and it's always a lot of fun. But then the parade is on Friday. They've got all kinds of great music on Friday. I remember being a part of the very first Little Caesars Moonlight Bike Ride.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always a lot of fun. So and that's just Friday. And then you've got events throughout the day. On Saturday, great music. The headliner, Caleb Austin. Oh, my gosh, this guy is huge. He's going to be one of the next big stars, but he's one of about 8, 9, 10 different acts that'll be hitting the stage at 1 or 2 different stages for Country Days on Saturday.
Yeah, you also see Hunter Hathcote, the Route 67 Band, Vinyl Revolution, Noah Meesey, Tom Norton, and so much more. And then Sunday, you got all the family events, the all-you-can-ride wristbands. I mean, it's a full weekend.
Lots of food, come hungry, lots of drinks, no reason to be thirsty.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the Hornet's Nest for some great kebabs. And don't forget to get your advanced ride tickets.
Yeah, you can get those at First State Community Bank, Belgrade State Bank, Ozarks Federal Savings and Loan, New Era Bank, Unico Bank, and Plumbers Ace Hardware in downtown Farmington. Country Days 2025, FarmingtonCountryDays.com, and the
Eat, Shop, Play in the Parkland.
download that app today. Farmington Country Days, sponsoring the Parkland Podcast. Heimberger Construction, HeimbergerConstruction.com, 431-4387. Heimberger Construction has done some amazing work in not just the Parkland, but the region.
Yeah, they're all over the Midwest. They do high quality work using the best materials, and best of all, you've got Jennifer Heimberger, who kind of headlines things and gears everything up. She'll sit with you. She'll find out what your plans are, what your wants are, what you're building toward, and she will get you the right products, the right building. So if you're adding on, if you're making a new addition, Heimberger Construction, they're the folks you want to see.
And they sell Butler buildings because they are the best metal building system on the market and the only building that has the pre-punched roof system and standard 360-degree roof seam for their standing seam roof. HeimbergerConstruction.com has all the examples locally of the great work that they have done, and the list just keeps growing and growing. If you need construction work done, you need to contact Heimberger Construction today since 1978. Again, learn more at HeimbergerConstruction.com. Here's your news for episode 50 of the Parkland Podcast.
Funeral services for the 3-year-old boy who died at a Park Hills daycare were held this past Friday. Conrad Ashcraft was found dead by a parent at the Park Hills location of Poppy's Playhouse the week before. The boy was nonverbal, and police are still investigating. And to complicate matters, the owner of the facility, Summer Gray, worked in the local court system and up until this past week was a councilwoman in Park Hills.
The city went on to pass the investigation to the St. Francis County Sheriff's Department, and the prosecuting attorney, Michael Dudley, announced that Tricia Stefanski, the Jefferson County prosecuting attorney, agreed to accept judicial appointments as an independent special prosecuting attorney of St. Francis County for purposes of rendering assistance, reviewing reports, and the prosecution of any appropriate charges.
Social media has been a big part of this whole situation as information about the death circulates. A local resident who shares the name of a worker at the daycare received death threats. Others have questioned the validity of the investigation, despite measures taken by the city and county.
A candlelight vigil was held. Large groups helped participate in the funeral procession, and several local groups are organizing fundraisers for the family. Parkland Pharmacy challenged local businesses to put blue balloons in front of their businesses and homes to show support for the boy's family.
The St. Francis County Commission has announced the purchase of the U.S. Bank building and drive-through located across the street from the Annex building and courthouse in downtown Farmington. St. Francis County Presiding Commissioner Harold Gallagher announced that the $1.5 million deal would allow for more space for a new courtroom and judicial chambers, as the county has approved by the state to add another circuit judge.
Farmington Community Civic Center will begin work on the second phase of renovations later this month. Plans in place to start those renovations in the Natorium. The Natorium, which includes the indoor lap pool and play pool, will be closed beginning May 30th. Some indoor pool activities will be moved to the outdoor pool through early August. This includes lap swim, water aerobics, and swimming lessons. Also, river walking will also be added, an activity this summer. River walking is a low-impact use of the lazy river at the water park's natural resistance. By the way, the Farmington Water Park will open May 28th, weather permitting.
The search for a new director at the Farmington Senior Center is over, and it ends where it began. Ursula Warren had announced that she would be taking a new position. She has now had a change of heart and is staying on as the director of the Farmington Oaks Senior Center.
And the Owl Creek Park, St. Francis County's first official park, is opened. And here's a video from this past week's ribbon cutting featuring Associate Commissioner Carrie Buckley.
Department of Missouri Natural Resources, because really without their help we wouldn't be standing here right now. They did come down, Hillary, Lee, and Robert were here when we first started this, and I wanted to get them in. And also, I want to thank all the people that help on the grants. That's how we're developing the park, through the grant system. They are helpful. We've got our grant coordinator with us, and the support of the local. Everybody give me letters, the chambers, the mayors, Anybody I get a letter, the state reps, the senators, congressmen, they all combine to give us letters to get this going. So I wanted to thank all them. Local chambers, they were a great help in this. Parkland Engineering, after we got ready to design it, Adam Jones, a local guy, Dave Christensen, they helped design it, and we are in the process. You won't believe in the future what you're going to have here. This is just the beginning of it. When we get done with this, you'll be proud of this. I think it'll help everybody. Brock Miller Construction, like I say, they come over, they bid it, they're doing part of the work. And most of all, the people that come out here and walk it. I think as of 2 weeks ago, we had over 24,000 in here, and we're just beginning. So believe me, it's gonna help our area. And most of all, and I know they really don't want to step out here and like the park staff. We got a great couple of guys that plan, take care of this. Our future's in good hands, and I just want to thank you all for coming out on this day. This is a great day.
And that's your news on the Parkland Podcast. Let's talk pharmacy. Parkland Pharmacy. They are at parklandrx.com. Small town pharmacy at their finest. They are so organized. They have so many great services. They're more than just a place to get your prescriptions, Mark Tody.
Absolutely. I got to give a shout out to Julie Berghaus. She called me the other day and she goes, "What's that stuff that you like so much?" I said, "The Emergency." And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm going to order some of that. You want me to get you some?" I said, "Absolutely." And she didn't have to do that, but that's the kind of great one-on-one customer service that they offer. They get to know their customers, what they like and who they are, and they will go the extra mile for them. So I love everything about that pharmacy, and that is why they are my hometown pharmacy.
Got to use two fingers if you want to scroll up or down.
I'm looking at their Facebook page while you were doing that.
ParklandRx.com is the website. Their delivery is fantastic, and all the special services they offer as well is really what makes them second to none. Check out Parkland Pharmacy today, the official pharmacy of the Parkland Podcast. Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belt are there to help you with the rising cost of food. Your dollar goes so much further. And we've talked about this before. And too late. This has already happened by the time you see this podcast. But it could happen again. Pick 6 for $24.99 at Save-A-Lot.
Yeah, when you go to Save-A-Lot, the next time you go and you get your groceries, ask about how to sign up to get their mystery coupons.
Yes.
Trust me, there
will
will
every
be
Saturday.
Every Saturday there's going to be big bargains available to you. You don't want to miss out, and you're going to just love the way you treat it when you go. You're treated when you go to Save-A-Lot.
Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belts all over the area. They're in Bonne Terre, DeSoto, Farmington, Park Hills, and Potosi. Follow that Facebook page and make sure you're aware of all the special deals they have going on. They've had a lot of cool promotions lately. They're now working through Uber Eats and DoorDash if you want your groceries delivered to you. All available at your local Save-A-Lot store.
Love the Farmington location. That's where I go. So I want to send a shout out to Clint and his group for doing a great job of being our local hometown supermarket.
Absolutely. Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belts sponsoring the Parkland Podcast. Here are your events, and they are powered by Discover Farmington.
Farmington, Missouri, your destination for a perfect weekend getaway. Dine in at one of our quality restaurants or visit one of our surrounding wineries. Farmington offers a variety of parks and other recreational leisure time activities. See some sights, have some fun, and go wherever your heart takes you. Sounds like a lot of fun, so get a room and stay a while. All this and more awaits you just 60 miles south of St. Louis. Discover Farmington today.
Mum's Cafe is open on Wednesdays at the Memorial United Methodist Church in Farmington.
Country Days in Farmington is June 6th, 7th, and 8th with carnival games and rides. A couple of stages with lots of great music. The Capias Heating and Cooling Saloon, the Nicholson Heating and Cooling Parade, a Jeep show, a quilt show, a cornhole tournament, firehouse competition, and much, much more.
All details online at farmingtoncountrydays.com. A Cherokee art exhibition will happen at the Longhouse in Farmington, June 11th from 4 to 6.
The Lead Belt Pentecostal Church is hosting Vacation Bible School June 11th through the 15th. Go to the church Facebook page for more information.
Check out the Missouri State Mines Rock Swap. That's happening June 14th and 15th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day at the Missouri State Mines Historic Site in Park Hills. There'll be guided interpretive tours of the mine trails and the mine museum.
Couple of events at the Farmington Water Park coming up. A Twilight Sip and Swim. That'll be June 13th, starting at 7 o'clock. And also, Happy Father's Day, June 15th from 11 to 6. Grab your dad for a day of fun at the water park. Free admission for dads.
Hey, I'll take that. Mark Griggs Memorial Kiwanis Golf Tournament happening day after Father's Day, June 16th, 1 o'clock at Crown Point Golf Club in Farmington.
Movies in the Park, Long Park, Farmington, June 20th. See Turbo and get free popcorn and lemonade, courtesy of First State Community Bank.
Park Hills Summer Concert Series continues on June the 20th. They have Audio Glow at the Amphitheater in Columbia Park.
There is a downtown block party July 11th, 7 to 10, featuring Mountain Mischief. Free concert presented by our Discover Farmington.
And Chris Cagle will be rocking the St. Francis County Fair August the 2nd. That is the big finale of the 151st Annual St. Francis County Fair happening there at the fairgrounds.
And mark your calendars for September 19th and 20th. Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, always a great time in downtown Farmington.
And those are your events. They're powered by Discover Farmington, more than you ever imagined. Go to discoverfarmingtonmo.com and find out about local events. Even book a wedding or day trip today. discoverfarmingtonmo.com. It is birthday time on the Parkland podcast. These are the birthdays that start with the week of May 26th, Memorial Day. Don't forget to message us your birthdays. If you have them, we'll put them on the podcast. Just make sure you get them to us about a week or so before they happen so that we can ensure that we record them and get them on the air. Who do you have for Monday, May 26th?
Monday, my good buddy Doug White celebrates a birthday. Doug was a long-time real estate guy in the area, he and his wife Sharon. In fact, Sharon sold me the house that I currently live in. Oh. So, Doug, happy birthday wishes to you. I hope you are doing well. Christy Herbst, happy birthday to you. There are, roughly speaking, 972 Herbsts in the area, but Christy's one of my favorites. So, Christy, happy birthday to you from your husband, your kids, and all of your family. And Tori Trollinger, happy birthday wishes to you. She was a salesperson for the last year. I worked at the radio station, and just a sweet, sweet gal. Tori, happy birthday wishes to you.
Happy birthday on Monday to my cousin Diane Michaelis. Big birthday for you this year. I won't say which one, but happy birthday to you. Tara Lamb, Arcadia Valley volleyball coaching sensation. Boy, she's had a great run lately with some good athletes. Yeah. My goodness. Happy birthday, Coach Lamb. Hope it's a great day for you. And a man who I hold in the highest regard in the Deloge legend, a guy by the name of Scott Wolf, has his own water company. And he, in my mind, is most famous for being the greased pole champion of the Deloge Labor Day picnic for multiple years. Somehow, his build, his muscle structure was perfectly designed to climb the grease pole at the Deloge Labor Day picnic, which always had a $50 bill on top of it. One of the local banks sponsored it back
I'd do well for that, too.
Yeah. And Scott was just a champion at that thing, and he'd get that, and he'd get, all kinds of money for Labor Day, and what a charmed life Scott Wolf lived.
There you go.
What about Tuesday, May 27th?
Tuesday, just one, but it's a good one. My buddy Bill Harrell celebrates a birthday. He lives out in California. His mom and dad, Nancy and Ron Rugley. Ron somehow became my dad. I was a war baby. We had a standing joke about that. So
Yeah.
Bill became my adopted brother.
Oh, okay.
Because of that. So Bill, I always remember you on your birthday, buddy. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. I want to wish a happy birthday to Farmington Knight baseball coach Logan Winder.
Yeah.
Logan's celebrating a
athlete.
birthday today, and he's having a pretty good year as head coach of the baseball team as well. Person that a lot of people know, maybe originally from the Lamplight Inn in Bonne Terre.
Yep.
And then you might have got a hearing instrument from Jan Hearing Instruments, our good friend Jan Wiebsko, celebrating a birthday on Tuesday. Happy birthday, Jan.
You may just see him out at St. Joe State Park because he rides his bicycle out there a lot.
Yeah, he does. He's in very, very good shape. Happy birthday, Jan. Hope it's an awesome day for you from all the kids and the grandkids. And Mike McGinnity, Mike, longtime salesman at Offenburg in Farmington back in the day, also really heavily involved in the I-55 Raceway. Happy birthday, Mike. Hope you have an awesome day. What about Wednesday, May 28th?
Wednesday, my fellow Navy man, Eric Spiker. Happy birthday wishes to you. He's got 2 kids. Both are in the military. Happy birthday, Eric. Hope you are doing well. Jenny Tamur, happy birthday to you from your husband and kids, your mom, your brother, and all of your family. And Ashley Finch, she is a sweetheart. Happy birthday to you, Ashley, from all of your family.
I got a happy birthday wish for Tiffany Mosier, celebrating a birthday on Wednesday. Happy birthday, Tiffany. And then a former student of mine and still neighbor, when I first started teaching, hey, you get a class and your neighbor's in it.
Yeah.
Jeremy Buckley. Jeremy works at Deloge Walmart, does an awesome job down there. I know whenever he's about to go to work because I hear his car start 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so he can make it on time. Happy birthday, Jeremy. Hope it's an awesome day for you. What about Thursday, May 29th?
Thursday, Dawn Eaton celebrates a birthday. Dawn, I'm going to give you the nickname of One More because she was going to retire from teaching about 3 years ago, and she came back for one more year 2 years ago. And then she came back for one more year last year. And I think she's going to do one more year this year.
No, she's done.
Is she done?
This is it, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we had the discussion. She's moving out to Kansas City to be around the grandkids. So
We may be talking about 2 different.
Oh,
Dawn
no.
Eaton. Yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
Dawn Eaton is a special education teacher at the West County School
Okay, yep,
District.
completely different. Never mind.
So, Dawn, I was going to say, you have to explain that to your husband, Donnie,
Yes.
about you moving to Kansas City there. Goodness. There you go. Dawn Eaton, happy birthday wishes
Happy
to
birthday,
you.
Dawn.
And Madison Fridley, happy birthday to you from your mom and dad and your sister and your little baby. I hope you have a great birthday.
Happy birthday to Jacob Rosner, former student at Unitech and one of the crew that went to the National Robotics Competition. Did very, very well. Happy birthday, sir. Hope you have an awesome day. What about Friday, May 30th?
Friday, our good buddy, Matt Rubel.
Matt Rubel.
Former Farmington School
The retired Matt
superintendent.
Rubel.
Yeah, living the good life. Happy birthday to you, Matt. I'm sure he and his wife, Misty, are following their son around, watching him play golf and other things. Matt, happy birthday wishes to you, buddy. You are great to work with. Happy birthday wishes to Tim Harris, who, longtime law enforcement officer, ran for sheriff just last year. Tim, I hope you're doing great. He's a heck of a good guy. Happy birthday wishes to you from all of your family. Freaky Fast, Lindsay Dietrich, happy birthday to you. Hope things are going well at Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's. They do a lot for the community, too. They're very helpful.
They are everywhere. You'll see them at Country Days. I'll guarantee you handing out sandwiches. And Kim Long, happy birthday wishes to you, a gal I worked with for both of us worked with many years
Many
at
years.
the radio station.
Also want to wish a happy birthday to Becca Brooks, celebrating a birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, Becca. And another former student of mine, Brett Peak. He was one of my first St. Paul kids to have at Unitech, and Brett was great. Class act, College of the Ozarks is where he is. I think he just wrapped up his second year there. Yeah, that makes sense. My math adds up right. So happy birthday, Brett. Hope you have an awesome day. Saturday, May 31st, who do you have?
Lots of birthday
Yes.
wishes on Saturday. Eileen Jones, 3-time Lutheran of the Year at St. Paul Lutheran Church, Volunteer of the Year at the Farmington Senior Center. And by the way, speaking of the Farmington Senior Center, be listening to our news because we've got an interesting story for you there. Happy birthday to you, Eileen, about to become a grandma here in just a couple of months. Happy birthday wishes to my buddy Brian Wilson. Brian, happy birthday to you from your wife and all your family.
And all the Beach Boys.
Yeah, and all those Beach Boys. Brett Burgess, happy birthday to you, Brett. Hope you're doing great. Let's see, Dick Stang. He
Oh,
and his
man, the
wife,
legendary Dick
yeah,
Stang.
started Spokes
Yeah.
Pub and Grill. I still miss that place.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dick, happy birthday to you living in the Springfield area. He and his wife, Debbie, happy birthday to you from the kids and the grandkids. Amanda Henderson. She is about one of the sweetest gals you'll ever meet. She gets that from her mom, Sherry, I'm quite sure.
Yes.
Yes,
Not
happy
from her dad.
birthday. Yeah, Dad's pretty good too. Happy birthday to you,
Yes.
Amanda, from your son, who is getting really big.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Turn
I hope
into a
you're
good ball
doing
player, too.
great. And last but not least for Saturday, Brenda Jordan.
Brenda Jordan.
How do you not love Brenda Jordan? Man, she's been through a lot of health issues over the last 2 years, but man, she's always got a smile on her face, and she's a great example of overcoming things. Brenda, happy birthday to you. You are awesome.
No doubt about it. Bree Brewer also celebrating a birthday on Saturday. Happy birthday, Bree. Hope you have an awesome day. And then we wrap it up Sunday, June the 1st. Who do you have for birthdays?
Sunday, we have Donna Freeman celebrating
Yeah.
a birthday. Happy birthday to you from Jerry and all your family. When you would call Farmington High School back in the day, she'd be the person answering the phone.
Huh.
She was a really big help to me in a lot of different ways. Kelsey Thompson, happy birthday to you from all of your family. She's a grief by birth now. She just gives people a lot of grief. Just kidding. Happy birthday to you, Kelsey.
Never heard that joke, I bet.
And Misty Castleberry.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. She's a great real estate agent from Triple Creek Realty, and they've been a former sponsor of the podcast.
I think they're sponsoring the parade again, too.
Hey, there you
Yeah.
go. Misty, thank you so much. And happy birthday on this your special day and all that good stuff.
Right. Happy birthday, Eric Meese. Eric works Parkland Pharmacy, does a great job there. And former guest of the show, Shelley Bess, with a
Yes.
birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday, Shelley. Thanks as always for what you do for the community and just putting those positive vibes out there. No doubt about it. So there you go. Those are your birthdays for the week of Monday, May 26th. We're going to be stepping back in time this year for Country Days 2025, June 6th, 7th, and 8th in downtown Farmington. Mark, you've been involved with Country Days for a long time, and there are many events that you hold near and dear to your heart.
Oh, very much so, including one of my all-time favorites, the First State Community Bank hot dog stand on Friday. It's like a homecoming because you'll see so many people you might not see every day or every week or even every month. I know it's always great for me to get together with my good friend, Miss Mandy, and we have a hot dog together, and then we talk about the past year, and it's always a lot of fun. But then the parade is on Friday. They've got all kinds of great music on Friday. I remember being a part of the very first Little Caesars Moonlight Bike Ride.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always a lot of fun. So and that's just Friday. And then you've got events throughout the day. On Saturday, great music. The headliner, Caleb Austin. Oh, my gosh, this guy is huge. He's going to be one of the next big stars, but he's one of about 8, 9, 10 different acts that'll be hitting the stage at one or two different stages for Country Days on Saturday.
Yeah, you also see Hunter Hathcote, the Route 67 Band, Vinyl Revolution, Noah Meese, Tom Norton, and so much more. And then Sunday, you got all the family events, the all-you-can-ride wristbands. I mean, it's a full weekend.
Lots of food, come hungry, lots of drinks, no reason to be thirsty.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the Hornet's Nest for some great kebabs. And don't forget to get your advanced ride tickets.
Yeah, you can get those at First State Community Bank, Belgrade State Bank, Ozarks Federal Savings and Loan, New Era Bank, Unico Bank, and Plumbers Ace Hardware in downtown Farmington. Country Days 2025 FarmingtonCountryDays.com, and the
Eat, Shop, Play in the Parkland.
Download that app today. Farmington Country Days, sponsoring the Parkland Podcast. It's postseason time in high school sports, and we begin with the state golf tournament. Valley Catholic Warriors finished 4th in the Class 1 state tournament. Sam Kuhn placed 6th individually. And in Class 4, North County's Gavin Barbie came in 34th. Ruger Govro 56th, while Farmington's Tanner Welch finished 67th.
The West County Lady Bulldogs were the last local team left in spring softball. They advanced to the state quarterfinals, but fell to Ava this past Tuesday, 8-1.
In baseball, Valley Catholic was the first local team to earn a district title. They beat Brentwood in their Class 2 championship game 9-1. On Wednesday, West County and Fredericktown's baseball teams also earned hardware. The Bulldogs shut out St. Pius 15-0, and the Black Cats beat Kennett 6-2.
In tennis, the North County boys tennis team advanced to state, but both lost matches against St. Pius of Kansas City and Bolivar. It was the first time the boys program had made a Final Four appearance.
And in track and field, several local individuals qualified for the state meet next weekend. We'll give you those names and results on next week's podcast.
And the Mineral Area College men's golf team finished 9th in the national tournament, closing out their season.
And, Mark, we haven't had a chance to talk about this in almost a year now. The St. Louis Cardinals are playing some pretty decent baseball as we sit on Memorial Day.
Pretty young team, pretty aggressive team. I like the way they are playing. They don't have much quit in them. And what they've managed to do so far, it's still early in the season. In the last 2 years, if they lost 1 or 2 games, well, then they lost 5 of 6 or 6 of 7. So far, they've avoided that, and I really like that. And maybe Olimar Mullet will keep his job.
Maybe so. I like the consistency in the batting order every day. That's what I've really enjoyed seeing, too. Anyways, we'll talk more about the Cardinals. We'll also talk about the Farmington Comets. Lucy's softball season starts next week.
Decent.
As we bring you back around for more cool sports over the summer. That's our sports segment here on the Parkland Podcast. DiscoverFarmingtonMo.com is the website that I go to every week when I figure out what events we need to publicize in the Parkland Podcast. It's also a great way to find out about day trips. You can even book a wedding on that thing. It's amazing what you can do at DiscoverFarmingtonMo.com. Mark, there's so much in Farmington and the Farmington area that people need to know about.
Yeah, it's not just Farmington when it comes to Discover Farmington, because they realize that what's good for the surrounding communities is good for everyone involved. So if you've got family coming in from out of town, take a look at Discover Farmington. Find a list of things you can do, whether it's to go to a winery, whether it's to go to one of the, 275 state parks we have within 30 miles of Farmington, or upcoming concerts and shows. Discover Farmington can get you hooked up.
Check them out today, DiscoverFarmingtonMo.com. Never too early to start thinking about blues, brews, and barbecue coming in September.
Going to be a great time.
Going to be awesome. We'll be there broadcasting from that event as well. DiscoverFarmingtonMo.com, the website. Go there today. Back on the Parkland Podcast, we've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. One of our favorite fellow radio brethren who got wise and got into the world of government and has
been on TV probably more times than he cares.
Yeah, usually it's when something bad has happened, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've got, Chris Hayes and Chris Regnier on, speed dial, so.
Elliot Davis again. Anyways, here he is, Greg Camp, former KFMO B104 operations manager and on the air, the morning show on B104 for many years.
Getting up early so you don't have to.
Right. Yeah. Coined that phrase. and every morning it was either Spirit of Radio or Let My Love Open the Door, right?
Those were the two.
Those were the two
big
tunes
ones.
that you played in the morning.
Spirit of Radio was my favorite. Rush, obviously. I'm a big Rush fan. So.
That's a lot better than Mike Ramsey's Ride Cowboy Ride from the Riders of the Purple Sage, I got to tell you.
You can still hear the record scratches on it. Yeah. That one never made it to CD.
For good reason.
So a long time city administrator for Deloge, now the city administrator of Festus.
Yeah.
A lot of things are moving and going in the right direction in that area. But I think we're just going to talk about radio stuff
Sure.
today.
Bunch of old radio guys. We can do that.
Yes, we can do that.
Emphasis on old.
Yeah. I remember I think one of the first times I called Magic 1240 KFMO
Magic
to
12.
request a song. You were the DJ, and I have no idea what song I requested, but I was just so interested in doing the job of being a disc jockey, being an on-air personality. What was it for you that got you interested in this profession?
Before you answer that,
Before,
this is how old we've become,
Yes.
because you're younger than me, but we're close enough.
Close. Yeah.
That when he was a kid,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
listening to you
yeah,
on
and
the
I was
radio.
listening- yeah.
Okay, anyway,
No, so I mean, I started at KFMO in '87. Was there for about a year. Left, went back up to St. Louis to still not finish my studies, and then came back down in '89 and was down there. Was there ever since. What got me into, I don't know, it was one of those things where I wanted to be, I was the kid with the tape recorder standing next to the speaker. It pretended to introduce the songs. I think about the time I turned, I don't remember exactly when. So when J.C. Corcoran came to the St. Louis market and was on Casey, that was like, what is this brand of radio? That morning zoo kind of thing where a whole bunch of guys are in a room just having fun. That kind of solidified it for me. It's like, okay, I'm definitely going to do this. And so I thought I had to go to college for that. And I did not have to go to college for that.
Right.
So that cost Dad some money. But I quickly, landed at the campus radio station within like 6 months of starting at Central Missouri State in Warrensburg. I was at the campus radio station. And then the next thing I know, I'm at a radio station in Knobnoster doing overnights. And yes, the radio station was KLUK, Country 105.
Yeah.
It was Cluck. Perfect country call letters. But we and that was bit. I mean, by then I was hooked.
Yeah.
I'm making $600 a month, and just thought I was in tall cotton. But something I was thinking about, and Mark, and you talked to this, we were very fortunate in the fact that when we got into it, and Jason, you've gotten some of this too, we got the last little bit of the stacks of wax,
the vinyl.
playing vinyl, and then the transition to either cartridges to CD, and then eventually to hard drives. And I got to do that all in my career, which was really, so I got to touch some of the last little bits of the golden age of radio, if you want to call it that, with the vinyl and the big reel-to-reels and all that stuff. Yeah.
Nothing says you're in small market radio than starting a song and having it go, go play me some mountain music. Yeah.
Yeah, we just it was a great time. The old studio there on St. Joe Drive, the old cinder block building, I can remember when I first walked into that building in '87. The new ownership came into the station in Knobnoster, and they fired the entire staff. And I mean, it was just one day, new broom sweeps clean, and everybody left. And I was looking for a job, and I remember talking to my stepdad, who was going to Broadcast Center at the time, and he said, there's a guy that left here, and he went to some station in Flat River, and he's probably been fired by now, so you might give him a call. So that was the impetus. I called, and it turned out that the Boson family had taken the station back over from Scott Simon. And they were looking for an afternoon DJ and a music director, and I basically took the job on the phone.
Wow.
So when I walked into the studio for the very first time, Mark, I don't know if you remember this, the KFMO studios back in the mid to late '80s. It was scary.
Yeah.
So I walked into the studio. I was like, "Dear God, what have I done? This was a bad idea."
Yeah.
But it was a job, and it was in radio, and I really didn't care. Because I was gonna work my 6-hour shift, and we were gonna start going out and doing ball games, and that was exciting too.
Stay there for about a year, move your way up, and sometimes it doesn't always work out that way.
Right. Well, and it's interesting. I got married. I had kids. Wouldn't trade any of it, but I had opportunities in other markets, and job offers from other markets, and they just never felt right. The Parkland area just always felt like a great place to raise my kids. And I was very happy doing what I was doing. I think I went back and looked. I think my last year, before I became full-time city administrator in Deloge, my last year, I made $40,000.
Yeah.
That was game checks and salary combined. Right. And but I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Clearly that was not a big deal, but it was, I was just having fun though. You guys
absolutely.
know that, I still tell the story. I never got to see the end. I never saw the tackle.
You never saw the tackle?
The end of the Super Bowl.
Right.
The hard drives at the radio station crashed.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm at the station on that Sunday at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I'm firing up the CD players and everything, because the hard drives were dead. Mm-hmm. So the station was no longer able to play. And by then, all the content had been transferred over to hard drives. So it's like, find the CDs, got to find all this stuff. So I never saw the end of the Super Bowl where the Rams won it all.
Oh, that's a sad story right there.
It is a sad story. Some of the people you got to work with, you got to start with Gib Collins. I mean, Gib was an institution. I know I caught him right at the tail end. I was his last boss, and just what I learned from him in covering the news and being organized and just how he dealt with people. But I think the one where I really thought, oh man, he is really good. It was the election when Linda Fisher at the time was running against her ex-husband.
Oh yeah.
And so they're both in the studio of KFMO. And I mean, it's just another day at work for Gib. And I mean, just how he framed things and he, well, we need to ask the obvious question. But just how he handled himself in those tense situations, he was always so calm and cool.
Yeah. I said this, the family and I joke about the fact that I woke up with Gib more often than I probably did with my wife. Because so that was that's how it was. So Gib was the program director at KFMO when I was there in '87.
Huh.
And then when the news director at the time, David Miller, left, David went to some station in Ohio. Gib became the news director. And that's when they called me to come back to be the program director and do mornings with Gib. So in '89, that's when Gib and I started working together.
Yeah, Gib actually worked at J98 before.
He
worked at KFMO. And the two most respected guys in the news business locally were him and Leroy Sigmund.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Leroy was great
They were
too.
the guys.
Yeah,
they had all the contacts.
institutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Collins was just the best. I can remember the Mother's Day tornado that hit Deloge. And don't ask me the year. I don't remember the year.
Right.
But,
yes.
In the 90s.
Right.
But it leveled like Jack's Auto Body down there around the Jack in a Box. A lot of that stuff in there was hit. And Gib and I are just driving around. Basically, I'm driving him. Storm coverage was always a big thing with Gib.
Absolutely.
And it would be, get to the station. And then we would fire things up, and it didn't matter what time of the day or night it was. It was storm mode. It was important to him to make sure that we had the information and we got it out to the public. Yeah, on anything, it didn't matter. When the dam broke down in Ironton, the reservoir, Tomsock Reservoir, all that stuff. I mean, that was just important to him. It was really. His lifeblood to make sure that he got that information out to everybody.
Another guy I wanted to ask you about that you worked with for a long time, no longer with us, but we still hear his voice on the donuts for sportscasts, Mr. Kelly Valley. Oh. What a prince of a guy.
So Kelly and I, initially it was not all hugs and kisses.
Right? Yeah.
Kelly and I didn't. There was I was young and cocky, and I knew everything.
Yeah.
I still do, but I'm
Yeah.
not as cocky about it. But, and so Kelly and I, there were things where, Kelly had been in radio for a long time.
Right.
Whether it was in sales and then obviously worked on the air, had just a beautiful voice.
Had the pipes.
And there was one of those moments where I honestly don't remember what it was over.
Right.
It was early on, and it was one of those where someone was going to punch somebody if the next person doesn't leave the room. And I think he left, and I was like, what was that all about? But just Kelly, they're getting to work with him as the general, being the sales manager at KFMO B104. Smoking those Vantage cigarettes, driving that beat up old Pontiac Grand Prix, just a super great guy, and would do anything. It's like, hey, we need someone to do election coverage in Potosi. I'm on it.
Yeah.
Right. He'd drive down to the courthouse and stand there. Kirk Moody and I were telling stories about election coverage here not too long ago about how we used to do it in the day. You remember the big room at St. Francis County Courthouse. And I would be sitting in Mark Hedrick's office, and someone from J98 would be sitting.
That was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
And also in the office, or you would sit in the big room with the big board, right?
Yeah, we're the county. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Trying to remember. No. We were on the other office, and we'd come in and we'd look at all the No, I did. I was in the big room.
Right.
Where they had the trials and things like that, because we'd set up the remote.
And they had the
Marty.
board. They had the board where they put the returns up.
And they climb up on the board and put the returns down,
But Kelly would go down, and there were times where Kelly would go stand in front of the Washington County Courthouse on the payphone.
Yeah.
And phone in election returns on the payphone. You know the old radio trick where you take the phone and you just turn it around.
And it's a microphone.
Now it's a microphone.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Kelly was the best. There's those two guys right there. I think all of us miss those two. That's for sure.
All right, so you're talking about individual guys that meant a lot to you. Who was the biggest character? The biggest? Oh my gosh, that guy! When you think back on your days.
There was a bunch of them.
A bunch of characters. And
we
radio draws characters.
Larry Joseph.
Yeah, we had and it was a bad hire, right?
Yeah.
The program director did not get this one right, and I don't remember the guy's whole name. His name was Bill something, right?
Bill something. Okay.
And we had hired him in to be sports director, and we had a young man out of Broadcast Center that was working in afternoons, and Bill just rode this kid constantly, called him names. Bill had some issues, and it got to the point where the afternoon kid just lost it, and he's like, I'm going to beat the crap out of Bill right now, and literally had him by the collar, through the front door into the parking lot, and there were going to be fisticuffs.
Right.
I mean, it was going to happen, and Kelly had to break him up. And then later, so it's obviously the part that stinks is, Bill, you're fired. Finally, it was finally the opportunity we were waiting for. We could fire Bill. But for the kid, obviously you can't threaten to beat your coworker's ass, so you need to not do that. So you're fired too. So we had to let both of them go. And then Bill ended up suing us for like unemployment or something like that. It was just a joke, but that one was strange. We had Roger Forsyth. You remember Roger?
Yeah.
Oh,
Worked at the
yeah.
paper?
Yeah.
Roger had a brief stint in radio.
I didn't know.
Very
about that.
brief.
He worked overnights.
Okay.
At the stations.
Did he see the ghost?
He thought he saw.
There's the ghost of somebody.
Gibbs' uncle, Collins.
Not Tom.
I remember the story.
Is it Tom Collins?
No,
or is that the
that's
drink?
a drink. That's a cocktail.
Yeah.
But he thought he saw the ghost, and it totally freaked him out. Gibbs shows up at the radio station at 4:30 in the morning, and Roger's out in the parking lot just losing it. And I show up at 5:30, and Gibbs like, there's a police car and an ambulance at the radio station.
Oh, man.
I thought it was Gibb. Like, oh, my God. And it turns out, Roger had I don't know. He had a moment, and
Huh.
yeah, those some characters. Obviously, I'd have to say, just near and dear to my heart, Greg Allen, Greg Tadich.
Yeah.
We went everywhere, to do games. Whether it was the wooden bat tournaments down in the Paducah area,
Yep.
or Texas,
Right.
or going up to Havre de Grace up there in Maryland. We just had a blast. And that was at the tail end of my time there at KFMO and B104. But hiring him in like 2000.
2000. That was the year Greg and I both started, because
Yeah.
I applied for Greg's job too. And you went with Greg Tadich, and then I was like, I guess I'll go work for the country station. And so I applied, and Mark hired me to do overnights. But yeah, I remember applying, and I remember calling you, and like, hey, I got
Get me out of here.
I got my,
What do I got to do?
well, no, this was trying to get
Right.
into the job, and like Greg and I, we became fast friends too, because we'd call each other every night and exchange scores, because we were
Right,
both
right.
sports directing at the time. In fact, I know Greg Allen's phone number by heart because I had to dial it so many times.
Oh, so many times.
And that's like him and my wife and my mom and dad. That's the only phone numbers I know anymore.
This is a true story, and I know Greg wouldn't mind me telling it. But
Okay, yes.
part of the reason why you lost out on that job,
Yeah.
it was because I really didn't have any choice, and let me tell you why. So he comes in, him and his dad Russell show up at the radio station
Great
on a
guy.
Saturday. Russell and Joanne are the best.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's Saturday, and I do the interview, and Greg and Russell leave, and Monday morning, 9:00, I guess, Greg and Russ come into the station, and it's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, after the interview, we stayed in town, and I started looking for apartments, and we found a real nice one over here, in Elvins or wherever it was,
Yeah.
Esther. It was in Esther. And he goes, so I think, we're set and ready to go. And I'm like, okay. So I go into Larry's office, and I go, hey, that guy interviewed on Saturday? He's like, yeah. I said, he's back. What do you mean? He's back. He apparently went apartment hunting over the weekend, and he's back. He's like, well, did you offer him a job? I said, I don't think so. and he's like, well, is he any good? I go, well, yeah. I mean, he was doing freaking minor league baseball for Lynchburg Hillcats, when he worked up in Milwaukee, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, he's good. Yeah. He said, well, then offer him the job. And I'm like, okay. So Greg got the offer because he just showed up thinking he got the job.
That's what I should have done. Dang
There
it.
you go.
and total. I mean, honestly, I was like, why are you here?
Right.
And yeah, the rest, as they say, is history.
I want to go back to something you said earlier on, and to me, it's the difference between perception and reality. You got interested in radio because you'd hear all these guys on the radio having fun, going back and forth. Then you come to small market radio, and you realize it's just you in a room, and you've got to make your own kind of magic. That's a talent in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a shame I don't have it, but no.
Well, you did quite well with it.
It is. I mean, it is kind of, what is it? The theater of the mind.
Yes.
If it's the ability. I think a lot of it, and you know this. It's the ability to see things, read things, catch things. This is before the internet, right? So you had the show services obviously would feed you stuff. But it would be something you saw on the news or something you saw when you were out and about, very observational. And then, being able to tell the story in the morning where it was like, I was at Save-A-Lot yesterday. You never guess what I saw.
Right.
And relate that to everybody. And, yeah, you're right, though. When you're, my first full-time job in radio, I was working midnight to 6 at a country station. And this was back, Knob next to Whiteman Air Force Base. And at the time, Whiteman was known for basically being the command center for all the Minutemen missile silos. And the command crews were an officer and usually a sergeant or a non-com they would be down in the silo on their rotations. And they really didn't have a lot of entertainment. You know, they're in there for 7-8 days at a time, and then they rotate out. But they could call the radio station. And because they could listen to the radio station,
right.
and you'd talk to Captain Dan and Sergeant Louis or whoever, and they would be like, "Hey, I'd really love to hear some Barbara Mandrell right now," and be like, "Dude, anything for you, right? Just keep your hands away from the buttons." Being able to kind of have those connections, conversations. So I think later on, you're able to do that in your head, where I don't necessarily get the phone call from Captain Dan or whoever. You know that when you play this song or you share this story, that somebody's connecting to it in some way, that it means something to them. I think I got that growing up. My mom, she was a single mom raising my sister and I. And when Mom was really happy or really sad, we would go to Peaches, the old record store.
Oh, yeah.
And Mom would drop $50, $100 on albums. And we would play. Music was on in our household all the time. And it was always something that Mom was using to kind of connect to emotionally, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. So it was like, if you play those songs, it's going to make somebody's day.
Right.
In a good way or a bad way. It's going to make somebody's day.
So I guess my last question, because I know you've got things you got to do as well. You transitioned from radio to Deloge. Now you're in Festus. How long did it take you to stop missing radio?
Oh, I still miss it. Yeah, you never stop missing. I mean, it was my first true love. If you want to call it that. I mean, I when I was 12 years old running around with a recorder, I wasn't running around going, "I want to be a city administrator."
Right.
I wanted to be in radio, and it's fun. I mean, we get to do a monthly show up at KJEF with Ryan and Kirk and the crew up there, and Kirk will invite me in to do a election coverage or something like that, and it's still, I still get a little taste of it. I sit there and I watch what you guys do. Like when you kicked off the podcast, I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes. It was like I made an appointment to make sure I got to watch you too.
Thank you.
And then when you had Mike in, obviously I had to watch that because Mike Reeves is another one of those guys that I just absolutely love.
Oh yeah.
To this day, and just to be able to do what you guys are still doing, bring in local content to the local market, I think is so important.
That's the key to any local radio station, small market radio station, local.
Yeah. It really is. It's kind of like what they say about politics too. All politics are local.
Right.
Well, all radio should be local.
Right.
I think all of us were very fortunate that we got to work at a time in a market where, if it wasn't a ball game or a pep rally or a graduation or the truck that drove through the front of the Piggly Wiggly or whatever the case may be, to bring that information to the residents, it's uncommon and it's, I think, sorely missed. AI and corporate, whatever. Okay.
Right.
At the end of the day, you guys it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So yeah, I still miss it. But I really do love what I do because you're serving community just in a different way. It's in a quiet behind the scenes way. You're making it possible for other people to go out and make a difference every day, whether it's your elected officials, your mayor and your council, whether it's your public works department or your police department, your fire department. You're giving them the tools and the support and resources to go out and make a difference in their community. So it's the same thing, maybe in my head, that clicks, that makes me think that I still think that we're able to make a difference at the local level.
You get one final shift at KSHE 95, and you get to play whatever you want in your hour that you are allotted. Give me a couple tunes that Greg Camp's going to rock out there for everybody to listen to.
Well, there's definitely going. So I always call it my medallion playlist.
Okay.
Okay. So there's
Right.
going to be like Chuck Francois, Under the Boulevard Lights.
Okay.
Okay. There's going to be Doucette with Mama Let Him Play. There's going to be some Journey, a lot of Journey. There's going to be some Eagles. There'll be some Crosby, Stills, Nash. Obviously, one of my favorite moments with those guys was when they were opening one of the concerts at the Centene Center. And before the show, they all came out. We were out in front of Centene. It might have been the REO Speedwagon show. And we were out in front, and I was just them in a circle around me, and I'm standing there like a dork holding a microphone.
Right.
I mean, I'm like a bump on the log. And they, a cappella, harmonized Helplessly Hoping. By Crosby, Stills, Nash. I got chills just now, right, thinking about it. But Chicken Strickland and all those guys that were part of Medallion, they were such a special group to be able to have a group like that in your area that could come out and just deliver, so many great tunes. Loved it. So yeah, those are definitely in there. And I'll pull obviously some Rush. There'll have to be some Rush in there.
Right. Yeah.
I did that one time where you fill out the playlist for, I guess Casey does that, where they you get to pick your songs, and I don't know if they do it anymore, but yeah, all those songs were on there. Some Triumph, Magic Power, that's a radio song. You got to play that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you caught me off guard, but that's what I come
No, I
up
would
with
say
at the top of my head.
you delivered a very solid answer. And the phone number to the weather line, do you still remember that?
431-5588.
Yes.
Does it still work? Is it still on?
No, it's not.
It's not there anymore.
It's not.
What was
Somebody
that?
ripped that out of the wall.
That was the tag at the end of every weathercast,
Yeah,
wasn't
absolutely.
it?
Call
the
431
now rad
55
color
88.
Doppler radar.
That was so hard to say.
Yeah, and can we just add a few more words in there?
Yeah.
Now rad color Doppler, standing on the top of the building, staring out at the sky, Doppler radar. But yeah, 431-5588.
Awesome. You passed the test. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate the invite, guys. Good to see you.
All right. There he is. A voice you remember and a voice you'll
And
never
hope you've
forget.
forgotten.
Greg Camp joining us here on the Parkland Podcast. Heimberger Construction, HeimbergerConstruction.com, 431-4387. Heimberger Construction has done some amazing work in not just the Parkland, but the region.
Yeah, they're all over the Midwest. They do high quality work using the best materials, and best of all, you've got Jennifer Heimberger, who kind of headlines things and gears everything up. She'll sit with you. She'll find out what your plans are, what your wants are, what you're building toward, and she will get you the right products, the right building. So if you're adding on, if you're making a new addition, Heimberger Construction, they're the folks you want to see.
And they sell Butler buildings because they are the best metal building system on the market and the only building that has the pre-punched roof system and standard 360-degree roof seam for their standing seam roof. HeimbergerConstruction.com has all the examples locally of the great work that they have done, and the list just keeps growing and growing. If you need construction work done, you need to contact Heimberger Construction today since 1978. Again, learn more at HeimbergerConstruction.com. Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belt are there to help you with the rising cost of food. Your dollar goes so much further. And we've talked about this before, and too late. This has already happened by the time you see this podcast, but it could happen again. Pick 6 for $24.99 at Save-A-Lot.
Yeah, when you go to Save-A-Lot, the next time you go and you get your groceries, ask about how to sign up to get their mystery coupons.
Yes.
Trust me, there
get 'em
will
every
be
Saturday.
every Saturday there's going to be big bargains available to you. You don't want to miss out, and you're going to just love the way you treat it when you go. You're treated when you go to Save-A-Lot.
Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belts all over the area. They're in Bonne Terre, DeSoto, Farmington, Park Hills, and Potosi. Follow that Facebook page and make sure you're aware of all the special deals they have going on. They've had a lot of cool promotions lately. They're now working through Uber Eats and DoorDash if you want your groceries delivered to you. All available at your local Save-A-Lot store.
Love the Farmington location. That's where I go. So I want to send a shout out to Clint and his group for doing a great job of being our local hometown supermarket.
Absolutely. Save-A-Lot of the Lead Belts, sponsoring the Parkland Podcast.
Parkland Pharmacy is out to prove that local independent pharmacy is alive and well. We work hard at giving you an excellent experience every time you come to see us. We love what we do, and we would love to take care of you. There's no need to be frustrated with your health care. If you're tired of what your pharmacy is not doing for you, then stop waiting in line and come see us today. We have 6 locations across Southeast Missouri, so Google us to find the store nearest you or visit parklandrx.com. Parkland Pharmacy is a local pharmacy at its finest.
We're back on the Parkland Podcast, and we are joined by Whitney Shumway. She's the Vice President of the St. Francis County Mental Health Board, and she's going to speak with us about 988 and teen suicide, a topic that is not very comfortable for a lot of people. But Whitney, you've used your enthusiasm and your experience to make people have an uncomfortable conversation and make it a whole lot easier.
I darn sure try.
We also want to talk about 988 and how it's made a huge difference. And really, you're just kind of scratching the surface of what 988 can do. Tell us about 988, what it is, and why it is so important.
Yeah, so 988, that is something I get really excited about talking with people about. The misconception of this, that it's only there for people having thoughts of suicide, and it is so much more. So in 2020, Congress introduced some legislation that was passed, taking us from the 1-800 National Suicide Lifeline to the easy-to-remember 3-digit system, which is what we now have, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline with the Crisis Care Continuum. And so with that, still those calls, that call center is available. There's roughly a system of 200 call centers around the country. We have 7 here in Missouri answering all of our calls, texts, and chats. With that crisis care continuum comes behavioral health crisis centers. But before we even get to that point, we also have the ability to work with mobile crisis units that are localized, that are able to go out and help people in person. And so what we've seen is a true continuum of care for those in crisis to divert them away from unnecessary involvement with law enforcement and hospital ERs. And so through that, we've been able to see so many lives changed and saved. In July, August of last year, we had doubled the number of calls we typically see in here in Missouri. We had over 8,000 calls, and through the crisis care continuum, through those services, we were able to save Missourians roughly $18.5 million just by diverting from law enforcement and ERs.
Wow. So not only is it a valuable service for people in need, it's saving taxpayer dollars too. Those are good numbers and good information to get out there.
Yeah. And truly thinking more about what crisis is so defined by the person, the way the system's been set up. And so if you have somebody who, let's say they are in recovery and it's 2:30 in the morning and they are really struggling, but they don't want to call their sponsor and wake them up at 2:30 in the morning. They can contact 988 and receive that same emotional support through that crisis for them, to be able to help get through that moment. Let's say you have somebody who you wake up, the car breaks down or it won't start, you get to work, it's domino effect. Everything is just sour that day. You get home, maybe there's some chaos at home going on, and you just need somebody to talk to. But for one reason or another, you don't feel like you have that person that you can call and talk to. Or maybe you have a counselor, but it's still going to be a few weeks out, but you need support in the moment. 988 is available for that. I think we have all these students that have just graduated high school locally. They're going to be moving off to college. It's an extremely stressful time.
Right.
All of those life changes, the pressure that comes with the excitement of adulting, right? You need some support through that. And our youth today live in a world completely different than the one that we've lived in. And so needing that additional support is so important, and it's there. It's there for them. They're able to call. They're able to text because, let's face it,
Yeah.
kids today, our youth today, they're really good at texting, but they struggle sometimes with verbalizing things.
But, Jason mentioned at the beginning about how this is an uncomfortable topic for to discuss teen suicide awareness. But you're here to tell us that it's one that teens are wanting to have.
Oh my goodness, yes. Time and time again, I've been so fortunate to work with youth in our county, really all over the place, but specifically here in our county the last couple of years I've really had a hard focus, and our youth want to know more. They want to understand the ins and outs of all things mental health, right? Understanding that as a society, we tend to use the phrase mental health and automatically think about the negative, right?
Right, yeah.
We think about people who are in the throes of living with psychosis, with alcoholism, with other drug addiction, with severe depression or anxiety, but really they want to know all of it, and they want it to be talked about in a positive light. They understand that it's more than that. And if we hear them out, if we really engage them in conversation, they tell you what they want to know, and they want to know more about it. They want to know more about how to help somebody their own age who might be struggling with things, with their family, with their loved ones. They time and time again, Miss Whitney, just tell us, right? We want to talk about it.
So what role does social media play in all the things that are going on today with depression and teen suicide awareness?
It is a massive role, right? When we think about the media, we think about movies, TV shows, how things are portrayed on what's acceptable. And then we also think about social media and the sense of connectedness, which while it is wonderful to kind of hear and know what's happening in our country and what's happening in our world, kind of in the now,
Right.
Compared to waiting 12 hours till the news comes on
yeah.
or something. Our youth are experiencing a bombardment in today's world. The expectations that are provided through media, through movies and TV shows about what's culturally appropriate or acceptable has changed a lot. And there are some false narratives out there. And then when you couple that with continued just involvement and engagement around the clock on social media through Facebook and Instagram and X and YouTube and Reddit, and these kids, when I have the privilege of speaking with them, there's like 7 platforms that they are typically on at any given point in time, and that's a lot of social pressure. That's a lot of construct in the world telling them this is what you need to be and what you should be. And they're beginning to find value less in their own ability and strengths and superpowers, and more in how many likes they're getting on a video, right? And the comments that are left under their videos or their reels telling them that they're not enough, and many, many other mean things. And so it's really important that we're having a conversation with them about healthy relationship building and resiliency and refusal skills and what support is available to them.
They're very empathetic towards each other. And I think that's something that you can kind of draw on, the fact that kids today, I feel like they're more in tune with each other and they're more aware, I think, of mental health issues. And as you mentioned, they have a quest for knowledge when it comes to this, don't they?
They really are. I remember being a teenager, and granted, that was like 20 years ago. Right?
That's all?
Yeah, good for you.
Listen, I'm creeping up there slowly. Yeah, as a teenager, I remember we really weren't that nice about things.
No, we weren't. Yeah.
It was your problem, your
Right.
circus, your monkeys. I have nothing to do with it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not my business, not my problem. Even in a small town where everybody knew everything, right? But in today's world, what I'm seeing with our youth is just a sense of ownership.
Yeah.
Of, you know what? No, you're what you're going through. It affects me too, and I want you to be better. I want you to feel safe. I want you to be happy and successful, and and all of those things. And they rally amongst each other. And it is amazing to see.
Where does St. Francis County and Southeast Missouri rank in terms of teen suicide awareness and depression? Are we ahead of the pack, about normal, or how does that work?
To be honest, I think we're about normal. It's been a minute since I've looked at the map to tell you exactly. I can tell you that in St. Francis County, we do have higher rates of depression and substance use and things like that here in southeastern Missouri compared to other parts of the state. But we're seeing a lot of progress, and really where we're seeing the numbers pipe right now is a lot with vaping and depression. Okay. Those are some pretty big issues with our youth. But we're to kind of combat that. One of the cool things that we're doing here in St. Francis County with the Mental Health Board is we've created a youth coalition. And so in November, we were like, how can we get our youth to the table, right? We need their voice because, again, it's a different world. You know, as adults, we can understand heartbreak. We can understand losing that first love and not understanding what our body and our mind are doing in this time where we're growing and finding some sort of independence and all of those things. But we don't understand it in today's world. And it's important that we acknowledge that and we give our youth a voice at the table to tell us what it is that they need, to tell us what they're experiencing, and to also tell us what works, right? Yeah. Like I might have some really great ideas, but to a 17-year-old, not so much. Yeah. So, you know, we need to have their voices. So we started this youth coalition, and we started by partnering with the St. Francis County Community Partnership. They have a Teens Teach program where our youth are able to learn how to present to their peers around things like vaping and alcoholism and a little bit of mental health sprinkled in there. And it went really well. This is like their second year doing it, I think. So we started with those students because they're already talking about things mental health related.
Right, yeah.
And we've seen some really cool stuff come out of that with their voices at the table so far this year. In Farmington, we've had a handful of students join the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention State Advocacy Day early March. It was amazing. We were up there teaching legislators about what 988 is, how it works, like all of the things. And so they were a really big part of that this year. They cut out a heart for every student in the student body and had them write affirmations on them and had those up all over the building for over a month. It was so cool to walk in.
Some of them were still up the last week of school.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear that because they were great. And those girls worked hard cutting those hearts out. That was a lot of hearts by hand.
Yeah.
And then they even in early May went to the middle school. So to tell you, this is how eager our youth are when we were talking with them about, you know, what are some ways that you want to engage your specific community, your school, your peers. They were like, listen, we have a lot going on here, but what can we go talk to the middle school students? Can we talk to the elementary school students? They need this information now, which was exciting, right? How insightful is that? And so early May, they took the book, Gizmo's Possum Guide to Mental Health, and they went to the kindergarten. And they read the book to the kindergartners about what mental health is, how it's our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, how to know when we're feeling sad, mad, or worried, how to feel better on our own with others, what a trusted adult is, how to talk to a trusted adult, and then make your own mental health plan at the end of it. So when we talk about how eager they are, we see it in the things that they're doing. North County said, listen, our peers need to understand more about 988. So we created a PowerPoint and some bracelets and some stickers with the hashtag You Belong Here and their mascot. And they went around to the FACS classes and they presented that before Christmas break, right? With West County, they've been helping to kind of plan some bigger community events. They did a hashtag, get real with yourself, know your worth, right? Know that you're worth it. And we've been working towards just some different ways to engage the youth around teens and mental health, a program that AFSP has to offer. That's that introduction to all things mental health, and them helping to present some of that. And so, again, our youth, they are so engaged and they are so ready. They have wonderful ideas, and we don't give them enough credit. We really don't.
So the kids can find out how to help out, I guess, through their school district, talking to their counselors and different teachers. How could somebody from the community, a community member, an adult, get involved with the St. Francis County Mental Health Board and all the programs that you have going on right now?
Yeah, really, adults and youth alike. We tell them to reach out to us on Facebook. We're hoping that our website will go live again here soon. It's under construction. So right now, looking for the St. Francis County Mental Health Board on Facebook, contacting us, sending us a message there. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of us. Our logo is black with a green head in it with little black gears. It says St. Francis County Mental Health Board on there, so you can't miss us. And we're always eager, looking for new folks to join the board, looking for new folks to join committees, just help with day of events, planning, that kind of thing. But we are hopeful as we get closer to this next school year to have a little bit of a bigger presence. Maybe it's in open houses and things to talk with more youth and more parents about the Mental Health Board's Youth Coalition to really allow them to become more engaged.
Back in the mid to late 2010s, numbers were up, they went down. Now they're coming back up again. People say, well, maybe the problem's worse than before, but maybe it's the fact that you're getting out and making all these resources public and available and using platforms like this podcast that people now know there's help out there. Maybe that's more people are aware of it now.
So what we saw in 2018 was in our country, we were at the precipice for suicide loss. We had just under 49,000 reported deaths in our country. We know that number is anywhere between 5 and 25% higher. It's underreported for many, many reasons. In 2020, we did see the numbers drop by almost 3,000. And those of us in suicide prevention were leaping for joy. That was huge, 3,000 people.
Right.
And then in 2021, we saw the numbers pop right back up within like 200 of where we were at in 2018. And it was heartbreaking. What was even more heartbreaking was to learn that it was in our youth population, our males ages 10 to 24, there was an 8% increase that year. And, the trend is it's going up. The numbers are going up. We were over 49,000 in 2022, and they're calling closer to 50,000 in preliminary data for 2023 right now. So, there's so many different factors, so many different things. We cannot pinpoint it. We do see the numbers with 988 being reached out to going up, and it is a credit to people understanding what it is, and that's a good thing. That is a very good thing because that means people are getting the help that they need, and they're not suffering in silence with these intrusive thoughts. And typically, there's less than an hour between someone's thought of suicide and someone's action of suicide. So helping people understand through amazing avenues like your podcast and the news and stickers and whatever else about 988 being available and how it works is truly life-saving and vital.
And this isn't just for teens. 988 is for everyone.
Everyone. It doesn't matter. If you have somebody brought this up to me the other day, and they were like, well, Whitney, we have a large population dealing with homelessness in our community, and we do. And you know what? If they have a way to access a phone or the internet to contact 988, they have access to support in the moment. Whether that's I'm trying and things aren't working and I just don't know what to do and move forward next, or maybe this is a newer situation for them and they're having a really hard time processing that. The truth is we don't have enough providers for mental health services. There are wait lists, even if somebody has insurance, unless they are already in with a regular provider. And so 988 is able to help fill that gap just a little bit. For that in-the-moment crisis support, right? They're not going to be able to be like, oh, well, we can connect you to so-and-so to help pay this bill. That's 211,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
But they can help with the emotional support of all of that. And more often than not, being able to just talk about what you're experiencing in and of itself is enough, because we're able to allow somebody's pain to be acknowledged. And that's really what it is. That's what those intrusive thoughts are. They are a symptom of so many other things going on for somebody, converging together and becoming overwhelming and painful. So how do we acknowledge that and help them through that? And more often than not, truly in Missouri, 98% of those 988 calls end just that, because people are able to get what they want without needing that crisis mobile unit to come out for support, or without needing a BHCC. So that's pretty amazing. It speaks for itself.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, like anything a parent could, maybe like some red flags or things that parents could look for amongst teens to, I don't know, be aware of. And I mean, obviously it just comes down to having conversations with your kids, but what are some tips? What are some things that we can do?
Judging by the look on her face, this could be a whole new interview right here.
So, yeah. There are so many things to look for when we think about warning signs and red flags, right? We think about moody, a lack of hygiene, like all these different things. And if you have a teenager at home like I do, that's in their DNA, right? Yeah. So really the encouragement is to make sure we're talking to our kids, really pay attention to what's going on with them, get to know them as people, as individuals, and understand what's in their character for response to things. Because it's when things are out of their character that we need to be concerned about possible intrusive thoughts, right? But as Mark said, that could definitely be a whole other segment.
Very good. Any events on the horizon? Anything to get the word out about involving the mental health board?
So really, our meetings are the first Monday of every month at 9:30. We're typically on the third floor of the Annex building over there in West Liberty. And then we're hoping to maybe have something in September for Suicide Prevention Month. We were just recently accepted as a registered coalition with the Missouri Suicide Prevention Network, so it was really exciting. We're about to go through a community-led academy to help us beef up our efforts and things. But really just getting involved with us is going to help us build the capacity to do more. So that's really the big thing right now.
Contact info, how do they reach you?
Again, go out and find us on Facebook, the St. Francis County Mental Health Board, and send us a message there.
Whitney, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Whitney Shumway, Vice President of the St. Francis County Mental Health Board. She is our guest here now on the Parkland Podcast.
Farmington, Missouri, your destination for a perfect weekend getaway. Dine in at one of our quality restaurants or visit one of our surrounding wineries. Farmington offers a variety of parks and other recreational leisure time activities. See some sights, have some fun, and go wherever your heart takes you. Sounds like a lot of fun, so get a room and stay a while. All this and more awaits you just 60 miles south of St. Louis. Discover Farmington today.
Here's your musical segment on the Parkland Podcast. We talk about cool songs. For the last time, we're talking about cool albums. We'll mention cool albums occasionally, and we have another great song prompt for you. But first off, let's start with your song of the week, Mark Toady. What do you got?
Song of the week. My brother's going to be so happy because I am a huge Ian Hunter fan, Mott the Hoople, but my brother is an even bigger fan of Ian Hunter, and I chose Just Another Night, which is a great song. It's a wonderful, wonderful tune. It was the first single from his album, which I just love the title of, You're Never Alone with a Schizophrenic.
It's true.
That album, by the way, featured members of the Bruce Springsteen E Street Band as the backing musicians as well. Great tune. Listen to some old Ian Hunter. Probably his best known song is one that I forget the name of the hair band that did Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Great White. Ian Hunter's version, much, much better. So that's my song of the day. My album of the day, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I love rock and roll, so put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Crimson and Clover is also on this.
Yeah.
She did her own version of Little Drummer Boy. She was one of the leaders of the band, The Runaway, the all-female group from back in the late 70s, and went on to fame and fortune as a solo artist. He was in some movies and some TV shows.
Yeah.
A great artist. I love rock and roll, and I love Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Absolutely. Great song and great album. So songs, I wanted to talk about Billy Joel. He has canceled all of his tour dates and reveals that he has a brain condition.
Yes.
Horrible, because this guy, such a musical icon, so talented. And so I wanted to, I know a big fan of the Parkland podcast. He watches every week, especially the musical segment. So I wanted to express our concerns for you, sir. I picked my favorite Billy Joel song, "Scenes from an Italian Restaurant," which is also from my favorite Billy Joel album, "The Stranger." And I always dug this song. One of the longer ones, I think. It's got to come in at least over 7 minutes. And just an epic tune from an epic performer, and just hate to hear about that. So, "Scenes from Italian Restaurant," song of the week. Album of the week, you have presented me with a really good one here. Three Dog Night's Golden Biscuits. Golden Biscuits. This was the 5th studio album released by Three Dog Night, and it has their probably most famous song, "Joy to the World."
Great tune.
All the boys and girls. "Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea. Joy to you and me." And also, "Don't Make Promises" is on this one. "Woman" and "Your Song." So there you go. Great
Your
album.
Song, by the way, is an Elton John song.
Oh, that's the one. "The Gift
Yes.
is Your Song." Three Dog Nights. I've never heard Three Dog Nights' version of that. Interesting. Very, very good. So there you go. That's your album of the week. Great one there. All right, our prompt, we've had some wild weather. We've had, 2,087 tornadoes in the state of Missouri.
Seems like it, yeah.
This year. So songs with weather-related titles. What did you come up with?
Well, the first one I came up with, "The Thunder Rolls" from Garth Brooks. I did a little country on this one. "Texas Tornado" by
Yes.
Tracy Lawrence. The Scorpions, "Like a Hurricane."
Can't play that song in Louisiana for 6 months out of the year.
"Rainy Days and Mondays Always Get Me Down" from the Carpenters. "I Love a Rainy Night" from Eddie Rabbitt.
Yes.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, "Who'll Stop the Rain." Old School, Gene Kelly, "Singing in the Rain." And, of course, the great Bob Dylan, "Come in," she said, "I'll give you shelter from the storm."
I got another Bob Dylan song for you. What about "Hurricane"?
Well, that's another one I thought of, and I just forgot to put it down.
Yeah, that's a great one. The
Great
story
movie.
of Hurricane. And then it's used in the movie Dazed and Confused when they're doing the slow walk into the pool hall, and it is such a cool song. How about Milli Vanilli, "Blame It on the Rain"?
Well, I'll let you have that
That's
one.
okay. You mentioned CCR, another one from them. "Have You Ever Seen the Rain?"
Have you ever seen
Great
the rain?
tune there. You mentioned "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head."
For my favorite movie of all time,
Yes.
Butch Cassidy and the
Butch Cassidy
Sundance
and
Kid. I thought everybody knew
right.
that.
Yes. "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone." Great tune there. How about "It's Raining Men" by the Weather Girls?
I'll let you have that
Yeah,
one.
all right. "Walking on Sunshine."
A good song.
Katrina and the Waves. "Stormy Weather," "Purple Rain" by Prince, although that's more about nuclear waste, but I guess it's
Says
weather
rain.
related. Yeah. Let's see. You mentioned "Rainy Days and Mondays." How about "Snowblind" by Styx?
Good song.
That's a good song there too. So, and great. There's many. Hit us up in the comments, or and I'm sure your brother will let us know of
Yes, he will.
some songs
Trust
that
me,
we
he will.
missed. Who do we have coming up for next episode of the Parkland? But we don't know yet, do we?
We're working that out. Yes,
working
we've
that out.
We've got some feelers out, and we're working on that one as we speak.
This will be the first where I've actually had a full night's sleep before. And,
Yes.
oh my gosh, this podcast is going to be amazing. Episode 51 coming your way. Again, don't forget to join us from Farmington Country Days. We'll be doing our live broadcast from the Country Days Parade. We've also been invited to do the podcast in the Hornet's Nest there at St. Joe. They're going to give us electricity and internet.
And beer.
And beer, I'm sure, and probably some kebabs. And
Yeah,
maybe
definitely
some lupa.
kebabs.
It's going to be fantastic. So we'll be there hanging out, and we'll record that episode of the Parkland podcast from the Hornet's Nest there at St. Joe. So maybe we might get one of those folks in to talk about what they're going to be doing there too. Maybe
great.
something else Country Days related as well. Again, thank you so much to all of the servicemen and women who have served our country, no matter what the capacity, no matter where. We appreciate your service, and especially those that gave the ultimate price. Thank you so much for all you do. Hope you have a great week. Hope you enjoy your summer, and we'll see you next week.